What's going on, guys? Just throwing a quick update video together for the weekend. I hope everyone's having a good weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Um, Most of this video is going to once again be me just reiterating what I've been reiterating the past two videos. Nothing has changed. Absolutely nothing has changed. Everything looks great still. I'm going to show you on my TA and a couple new finds and pretty much just show you what I'm expecting going forward for the next week. This past week was not really what I was expecting. It makes sense. I'm going to show you the tracking in my TA. I was not expecting to retrace down to the level that we did, but still have an uptrend, still forming higher highs and higher lows, and everything looks great. So with that being said, jumping into the macro, as per tradition, we'll start off with the macro. Nothing has changed about this from my very first video. Absolutely nothing has changed. These three fractal segment right here, overlaid right here. Here's the bars, track perfectly the entire time. And we're in this last blue section here, the W that takes you to the squeeze. I went over this in my last video as well. One of my last videos, I don't think it was my last one. But I'm going to do it again because, you know, people love talking shit and, oh, you're wrong, you're always wrong, this, that, whatever the fuck. I don't care. I made my YouTube channel here on this gap up from the January lows. Since then, the only thing we've done is form higher highs to the upside, and to the downside we've been flat. Pretty much a very steady uptrend here. This knife was pretty crazy after hours. We got the lower low that we needed, and then bounced right back up to the trend, and we have this uptrend going, higher highs and higher lows. It looks very good. It looks very good in every aspect. You could really see here the price action flattening out, and this last section just carving out the bottom, and then we're flat, and we have this uptrend that should be taking us to our squeeze, just the same way you do here. So that's pretty much it for the macro. I've gone over this a million times. It's legitimately, it's just taking a long time. I said this in my last video, I said it in my first video, and all the videos in between. The algo can slow down and speed up, and that's what's going on. We're barcoding on low volume every single day. Inching towards the finish line. We're very, very close. We're almost there. And you know, this uptrend, I keep saying this uptrend is going to take us to our peak, or our all-time high. And as soon as we cross this 850 right here, we're gone. Just the same way here. You have the tri-peak in the middle. You have this uptrend that takes you to the gap, the two gap days right before the peak day. The two gaps, which crosses right over the tri-peak, and then once you close over this tri-peak here the next day, you just open at the top. So it's possible it plays out different. I'm leaning towards it's going to play the exact same way, because why wouldn't it? It's been tracking perfectly the whole time. I don't see why anything would change now. So this uptrend that we have is very solid. It's very slow. We're moving very, very slowly, but in an upward direction. And once we cross this 850 here, that's it. So that's pretty much it for the macro. This is just macro zoomed in now on the last little portion that I was showing you. The W here. So you have your first bottom here, as we do here. You have your tri-peak in the middle, as we do here. And then you come back down to your second bottom, the right leg of the W, which is a lower low, which we have here. This red line drawn horizontally across here, showing the lower low. And then this uptrend, like this here, which takes you to your peak of January 2021. Tracking perfectly. Just taking a very long time. Nothing I can do. Nothing I can do about it. So it looks great. We're almost there. I showed this in my last video. I'm going to show it again, the daily EMAs, because this looks great as well. Really quickly, your 200 crossing right over the tri-peak. Same exact thing here, right over the tri-peak. Your 100 crossing right through the tri-peak, and then right through the January 19th to the 22nd flag. Same thing here, crossing right through the tri-peak, and then right through your January 19th to the 22nd flag. Same exact thing here. This was 4 days. We're on almost day 30 now. It's taking a very, very long time, but it's still tracking perfectly. Nothing to worry about there. 50, pretty much same thing, crossing right through the tri-peak and right through the this iteration here, the flag sequence. Same exact thing here, crossing right through the flag sequence, and then the 20 hovering under the 50 for most of the time here before you cross slightly in the middle at the tri-peak. You come back down underneath, and then when you cross again in this iteration here, That's when you squeeze, and you have the same thing over here. The only difference is taking a lot longer. Hovering under the whole time, cross, come back underneath, and then we've recently crossed again. So that's pretty much that for the EMAs. The 4-hour touch point chart, I showed you this last time. This is just showing the touch point of the high of this iteration here. This was January 22nd, the high of the day, crossing right through in the exact same spot. And then the retrace of this day was a couple candles. It was very quick. This happened in one day here. This is taking us a lot longer, but it's still the same thing. And you could see it better here too. Here's your first bottom. Here's your second bottom with the lower low. First bottom, second bottom with the lower low. Your 3 peaks in the middle. The January 22nd high of the day crossing right through in this last section here where you come down, bounce up. Same thing. Come down, bounce up, crosses right through in the same exact spot. It looks amazing. Looks very, very good. This uptrend we have is very solid. This week was very bloody, very low volume, and bleeding the entire week. Still, it's an uptrend, and it looks very good. We're forming higher highs and higher lows. So that's the touch point chart. The next one is the 4-hour line. It's exactly what I just showed you without the line going across. And this is just so you can see the tri-peak better. Same exact thing. This is just easier to visualize. Honestly, the candles is easy enough. I mean, it's right there. So whatever. This is something that I found a few days ago as well. Just, fucking around with the chart and looking for little things, little coincidences here and there. Measuring a trend angle from the right leg of the W, the bottom of the right leg of the W in January 2021 to the left leg of the W. So bottom to bottom, the trend angle here is 175 degrees. Just for shits and gigs, I did the same thing over here, and it's 177 degrees. Pretty much the same fucking thing. 175 degree angle here, bottom to bottom. 177 degree angle here, bottom to bottom, 2 degrees off. Pretty much the fucking same thing. Pretty crazy how that worked out. Then again, not so much, because fractals repeat themselves over and over. That's the basis of my thesis. That's the basis of the entire market, whether you want to believe it or not. I mean, you could believe all you want about earnings and fucking news and this and that. The stock has a set course no matter what. There's a course set, and we're on the course, and it's going to take us to where we're going to be. I mean, this is not natural price action. Literally a bars pattern pulled here, all this price action here, leading up to the squeeze in January, pulled it here. Here's the bars pattern. It's legitimately the fucking same thing. I don't know how many times I have to say that. I don't know why people are still left and right. Oh, you're always wrong this, you're always wrong that. I'm not wrong. I'm just early, and that's fine, because we're moving very, very slowly. But this isn't natural. This is not natural price action. How does this happen? Think about that. How does this, the wick down here, the W, same exact thing here. Come back up to the top, come down, wick down here, wick up here, the cup, come down one more time, back up to the top, the W, your first bottom on the left leg of the W, the 3 peaks in the middle, the second leg of the W, the lower low, and the uptrend that takes you to your squeeze. This isn't natural. This is not natural price action. This is not fucking institutions and retail driving the price here. This is the algorithm doing what it's going to do. It's running on a fucking loop. I said it in my first video. I'm saying it again. It's running on a loop. None of this shit matters. The news and the earnings and this and fucking that. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't make a difference. We have a set course, and the news somehow always matches the price and the price action. And it's shown here, the tracking of January 15th. January 15th, 2021, on the left, one day. This was like 5 days. Legitimately, it's the same thing. I haven't even gone over this, but I'm gonna go over it now. You have your 2 peaks here, your higher peak on the right, and then you come down, bounce up off this horizontal line here. This horizontal line goes right across. Same thing here. I drew the same line here. Your 2 peaks, you come down, bounce off the line. It's your peak where you find your descending resistance line. You find the bounce off that horizontal line. You have a descending resistance. You come down, break below it, come down, break below it. You have a lower low on the, this is a W here. You have a lower low on the left side of the W, and you have the same thing here. Here's your W, lower low on the left. You bounce over the horizontal line. You come back underneath it again. Same thing here. And then you find a higher low on the right side. Same thing, back up to the trend. Back up to the trend. It just took longer. Then you come into this iteration here, come back down, break below the horizontal line once again. Same thing here, just chop up and down. You break below, come back above, and then you come back down, but it's a higher low. This is a higher low here than this was. Before you come back up to the top of the trend again, you form a cup here, hit it again, you hit it again, come back down, bounce perfectly off the horizontal line in this section. Same thing here, come back up to the trend, another U hitting it again, another U hitting it again. This was our close, and then, you know, either, like, this was the craziest fucking timing of all time, like, legitimately. That AK that dropped after hours, when we dropped 510 to 360, like that, like instantly after hours. Either that was the craziest timing of all time, how that played out, or it's not crazy timing at all, and the news just justifies the market. This move down was going to happen no matter what. I was calling for this the whole fucking time in this iteration, all the way back here, you know, tracking, trying to figure out exactly where we were here in this iteration. And, you know, there was some confusion at first. My tracking was a little bit off because I didn't realize how much slower we were actually moving than this. This was one day here. This took us almost a week, you know. So once you have the full picture and you could see it, it makes sense. You know, I was calling for the knife the whole time, and once we got to this bottom here, because I already had this horizontal line drawn here, the same way I did here, I was like, okay, we're going to come up one more time and hit this trend, and that's it. We're going to fucking knife from there. And guess what happens? We hit it, the U again, the star, the second star here, and then that was our close, and then we get the knife after hours. Because of the news, you know, they'll say, oh, the AK dropped, that was, you know, why we dropped so much. That's not why we dropped. We didn't drop because of the AK. We dropped because we were going to drop no matter what. It doesn't matter. The news didn't matter. That news could have not dropped. You know, just picture that news never happened. The AK filing, whatever the fuck. I don't even know. Honestly, I don't care. I don't know, and I don't care. If that news didn't drop after hours, we were knifing anyway. But, you know, here's a catalyst, and now the price action makes sense. There's, you know, there's some justification to the move. This knife was happening no matter what. No matter what. Because none of this shit matters. The news doesn't matter. The market matters. The fractals matter. Fractals repeat themselves over and over and over again, and the news is just fucking bullshit to justify it. You know? Like, I don't know how many times, like, seriously, sit there and fucking look at this. It's insane. It's the same thing. It's just descending. And we're at the end. So we're going to be squeezing very soon. That's that. Now, that knife takes you into this next iteration here. So here's the knife on the bottom. And then here's the knife over here, the January 15th knife. And then this was the after hours knife. And then from there, you gap up into the flag iteration of January 19th to the 22nd. Now, I was tracking this the whole time. You know, we found our top. We started forming some higher lows on the bottom, and, you know, once I got my grounding, I'm like, okay, now this makes more sense. We broke out, and we're hovering right above, calling for the gap down. Same thing. You break out, hovering right above. You know, the next thing we have is a gap down. Fill the gap. Test one more time. I drew it here. The gap down. Fill the gap. Test one more time. And then my original target was 650. I drew a straight line just because that's how this played out. It was fast. It was one day. And it was just a straight line up to your top. You know, you have your retracement, you double top it, come back down one more time, close the day, and then this gaps you up to the two gaps that right before the peak of January 2021. So again, I drew this before it happened, and I'll just show this. Yeah, I drew it before it happened, and that's exactly what fucking happened. Now this is the same thing. January, I think. January 22nd over here. This is the breakout and the gap down. Fill the gap, come test the previous resistance as support one more time. Same thing here. This was the current day. This is our present cycle here. You broke out, hovered right above resistance, the previous resistance now acting as support. You gap down to it, you fill the gap, and then you come down one more time to test on that previous resistance as support. Now, from this test here, I was like, okay, now we form an uptrend. Here's the uptrend here, here's the uptrend here. Believe it or not, this is the same thing. This are 5-minute candles versus 15-minute candles. This here is the same exact thing as this. And I'm going to show you now zoomed in. I'll just click the same thing. And now this is zoomed in. So this is exactly what I just showed you here. This green box on the right, and then this green box on the left. This is January 2021, and this is our present cycle, zoomed in now. Legitimately the same thing. So here's the uptrend. You have, this is a 1-minute chart, by the way. 1-minute chart over here, and this is a 15-minute chart over here with extended hours. Because this happened in a half hour, about a half hour, this uptrend. This uptrend was a half an hour. This one was like 4 days. So you find your bottom, you find this W here, come back up and flatten out. You find a W here, come back up and flatten out. This is a W, it's a 1-minute chart. You can't really tell because it's a 1-minute chart, but this was a W here. Come up and flatten out, you come up and flatten out. Excuse me. Come up into the next iteration here. This yellow box. You come up, you break below slightly, which we did here. You're pretty much trading sideways here. You pop up higher, and then higher range here than this, pretty much testing on the previous range here as support. Same thing here, you come up higher, and now this is testing pretty much on this section here as support. Then you break over this range, find your top, and then test perfectly on the yellow box here, which we did here. And then you're flat, you pop up, you're flat, same thing. And then from there, we got the rest of the price action up to the top, up to, I think it was 620, including extended hours. If you just have extended hours off, the top was 611. So here's the uptrend here. Exactly what I just showed you is this here, all the way up to this, and then we got the remaining price action all the way up to the top. Same thing, the gap here that took you up to the iteration, the gap down once you break out to test, which is right here. Here's the gap up, the gap down to test, and then you form the uptrend that brings you up to the top, which is higher than this range here. And then you come back down, double top it, finish the day there, and then you gap up the next day, the 2 gap days that lead to the squeeze. Right before the squeeze, that's what you have. Once you finish this iteration, there's the 2 gaps, and then the 3rd day was the peak. So now the downside that we saw this week, it was more downside than I originally expected. And you know, I'm just going based off of the touch points, which, you know, sometimes it's perfect, sometimes it's not. It doesn't mean we're not tracking. It's just it was a more exaggerated dip here than what happened back there. Just like the knife of the after hours knife, the January 15th, 2021. That knife that I was calling for was way more exaggerated than it was supposed to be. Doesn't matter. You know, it's still tracking perfectly. It was just a more exaggerated dip, but we're still tracking perfectly. And it led to this. You know, that knife led to this iteration, which is this here. Now, from the top here, we came down more than I was originally expecting, but it doesn't mean that we're not tracking. So, showing this now, and this is just touch points. You know, this happened, hold on, let me get myself out of the way. This is 1:30 p.m. until close. So this was one day, not even one day, this was half a day. This was 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time until close January 22nd. This top here was last Friday, and then this is this Friday. So we moved, this is 1:30 p.m. to the bottom is 2 p.m. 1:30 to 2 p.m. top to bottom. This took us a whole week. Think about that. Half hour. 1:30 to 2 p.m. Half hour here. You get all this price action to the bottom. This was last Friday to this Friday. 1 full week with extended hours to get all the way to the bottom. And the touch points are perfect, as they usually always are. Here's the top. Here's the top. Come down, bounce up, come down, bounce up. Now this green box here, and I'm comparing a 1 hour chart to a 1 minute chart, so it's going to look a little bit different, but it's the same thing. This green box here is this green box here. Then you come down, bounce up, and this is higher than this low here. Come down, bounce up. Most of this price action is higher than this low here. You come down lower now, just the same way you do here. This orange circle here is this one here. You bounce up lower than the last high here. Same exact thing. You bounce up lower than the last high here. And you come down one more time. I drew this green horizontal line right across. Same thing here. You find a bounce off of it right here. Kind of come up one more time before you break through the bottom of it. Same exact thing here. Bounce right off, come back up, all the way to the bottom. So literally a half an hour of price action here took us 5 days, 5 full trading days with extended hours included. That's how much slower we're tracking. Half hour back here, full week. That's how much slower this is tracking. Very low volume, bar coding. We're inching towards the finish line. We're almost there. So with that being said, what do we expect for next week now? Pretty much what I said in my last video is what I'm expecting. I thought the bottom was in my last video. It's fine. You know, it wasn't in. I had calls expire out of the money myself. I had $6 calls this week. They got fucking rinsed. It's fine. Most of my position is dated far out anyway. You know, obviously I'm going to try to play the weekly moves too. But, you know, sometimes you're going to lose with the weekly moves. The bottom wasn't in. That's fine. Guess what I'm doing this week? Buying 550 and 6 calls. Now, I'm not saying this is going to play out. Not financial advice. I'm not saying that this is going to play out this week. It's possible we don't even get the rest of this price action this week. But what we're expecting now is the same thing that I said in my last video, is we're going to come back up and we're going to double top this range. Same exact thing I said in my last video. Nothing has changed. You know, the bottom is just a little bit lower. You know, I said we were looking for the double bottom with the higher low on the right. You know, you have your bottom here, you bounce up, you have a higher low. You finally find a higher low, and then the uptrend starts. We didn't even find the higher low yet. I'm just assuming that this was the bottom. I'm assuming that this was the bottom. I don't see why it wouldn't be, you know, just based off of the uptrend that we have. I'm going to show you that too. This should be the bottom. Also, this iteration is very similar to the previous iteration of downside that we saw, and I'll show you that in a minute as well. So next week, what are we expecting? If this is the bottom, which I'm assuming it is, I'm assuming the bottom is now in, we could see a reaction back up to like 540 to 550 on Monday. You might have this sideways action up and down, bouncing off 520 to like 510-ish, you know, up and down to start the day on Monday, and then break through, go to like 550, and then you'll come down from there to form the higher low on the right. We still haven't formed that, so we should see a reaction up, you form a higher low on the right, and then pretty much the same exact thing that we saw on this side, we're going to see over here a slow climb up now. You know, we laddered down all week. Next week, we're expecting to ladder up now. So that's what we're looking for. That's what I'm looking for next week. You know, I want to start this up, find the higher low on the right, and then start laddering our way back up to a double top around 620. We shouldn't cross 620. It should be somewhere around 610, 615. Find that high, and then you get the rest of this downside, and then probably close the week. This iteration will probably finish on a Friday. Close the week around $6, $602. You know, it could be a little bit lower, $5.80 to $6, somewhere in that range. You know, come double top and then close the week somewhere in this range here, from, you know, $5.80 to $6. And then after that, we should gap up into the next iteration. Now, showing you, I think I covered everything, all the screenshots I had. I'm pretty sure I did. Now, just looking at the chart now, this uptrend is fucking solid. It's a very, very solid uptrend that we have going on here. And, you know, this is the iteration, like the double bottom, the first one here, the tri-peak, second bottom, and then we're in this uptrend that should be taking us to our highs, to the squeeze. I have this box drawn here, and this would be the equivalent of the 2 gap days. You know, we're in this iteration here, and then you have this gap up that takes you up to the top of the tri-peak. This was 2 days, and then from there, squeeze. So we're in the uptrend. It's just taking a lot longer. And what am I expecting now is we're going to bounce back up, probably ladder our way back up now. double top 620-ish, and then come back down one more time to like 596 bucks, and then from there gap up into this box here. That's pretty much it. Another thing, this iteration down is pretty much the same thing that we saw back here. This last I think this was a week long, from Friday all the way until Friday. Yeah, it was a week long of downside. Pretty much the same thing. You have the false break here, and you're just laddering your way down back to the uptrend, which we did. You have the wick below, we have the wick below. Same fucking thing on both sides. I'm pretty sure it ended on Friday. No, it ended on Monday. So the opening candle on Monday, you wick down. You have a crazy wick. You know, we see that all the time. The opening candle, crazy wick up, crazy wick down, whatever the case may be. Possible on Monday, we wick slightly lower than the low that we saw at 508. It's possible. It's also possible that was the low. So pretty much this is what we expect now, is this slow climb back up. It played out pretty much the same way. You know, it took us back to the trend. You know, we should break through this now. Maybe Monday, Tuesday, we're relatively sideways in this range of, you know, 510 to 535, 540-ish. And then the rest of the week, we might start seeing some pumps in the morning, you know, flag till end of day, pump, flag, you know, that kind of thing. Stair-stepping our way back up to the double top here before we come back down one more time, close $6. And then from there, you know, once we see the double top and then the downside end of day, once we see that, January 22nd iteration's over. What's left after that is, I just showed you, is the two gaps here. You know, gap up from this iteration up to the top of the tri-peak, and then that takes you to the squeeze. So that's pretty much it. You know, we have this uptrend. It's solid. Nothing's changed. We're still tracking. We're just waiting for it to be done. You know, it's probably all next week is going to be low volume, bar coding, you know, but same thing except to the upside. A ladder, you know, stair-stepping very slowly back up to the double top. And then that's if we finish the iteration this week. It's possible we don't. It's possible, you know, Monday we do the same thing as this previous iteration here, where Monday you break below, kind of close flat. This let's see, Thursday, Friday. So the downside of this took 1 week, and then you find your bottom. Then the upside, this is Monday to Friday right here. You don't even finish the upside of this in 1 week. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. It took 2 weeks from this bottom here to get back up to the top. So it's possible it takes 2 weeks. You know, it's possible we finish the iteration next week. It's possible we don't, and it takes 2 weeks. I don't know. I can't tell you how fast the algorithm's going to move. What I do know is that once we gap up into this iteration here, that should come with volume, and that volume should bring speed. So that's pretty much that. That's what we're looking for. We don't have a lot left. This uptrend is taking us to our highs. It's just a matter of how long it takes. I've gone over the OPEX dates. I'm not going to do it again. You know, I went over the previous two squeezes, what happened, how it both landed 7 trading days post OPEX. So, you know, I have some dates in mind. You know, I told you in my last video, May 31st. I'm not saying we're peaking or we're squeezing on May 31st. I'm just pointing that out. So that's pretty much that. Another thing, and get this out of the way. Get these out of the way as well. And throw up the volume. Very solid uptrend. Increasing volume to the upside. These green bars, increasing volume on the upside and decreasing volume to the downside. Decreasing red volume here. There's a word for that. I can't remember the name. Kind of drawing a blank. I think it's bullish. Bullish. That's what that is. Decreasing low volume pullback. Bullish. It looks good. There's no complaints. I have not a single worry in the world. I have contracts scattered from, what fucking month are we in? May? All the way to September. You know, I'm not going to miss this fucking squeeze. I'll tell you that right now. We're almost there. You know, playing weeklies, it's very easy to get fucked. I mean, you're not always gonna win on weeklies. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. You know, the TA is fucking solid. We look great. You know, just not financial advice. Just buy contracts a couple months out, a year out. Who the fuck cares? They're gonna print. We're almost there. So, you know, with that being said, I'm pretty sure I went over everything, and I'm already half an hour in, so I'm just going to end it here. Hope everyone enjoys the rest of their weekend, and let's fucking go. Let's see some upside this week. Maybe I'll make some update videos during the week. Maybe I won't. I'm telling you right now, what I'm looking for is low volume barcoding in an upward direction. The opposite of what we saw this week to the upside is what I'm expecting for next week. So nothing too exciting. We're looking for the double top around 620, and then that's from there. That's when, once we get that, then I'll start getting fucking excited about what's about to come next. So that being said, that's pretty much the vid. Take care, guys.